most amazing brunch at Sarabeth's. I haven't been there in 20 years since I used to live on weekends on 88th between 1st and 2nd at the Layton House, because my dorm room was a closet, 92 to 93. And this is the staircase, Whitney, where Philip Seymour Hoffman meets the Brazilian dancer with whom he has a dalliance, and Catherine Keener, his wife of 25 or so years, in the late quartet, doesn't respond well to that, although, frankly, she's a real pain in the ass. I know I'm not popular with women for saying this, but when you treat your husband like shit and he finds somebody who's nice to him, you really don't have a right to complain. Those are, of course, those famous, I always forget what those are, but I love it. The Reservoir is wonderful, and I haven't been up here in a long time because I'm down in the 60s now. It's a great movie that was terribly, unfairly overlooked. My theory on that, and I've run it by a lot of people in the city, and they agree, not so much about Late Quartet, but the Deanna Freeland documentary, Eye Has to Travel. It is not fashionable to talk about how great it is in this world to have money. Documentaries about, tortured infants in a third world country do much better with the documentaries than the opulence of the 80s. And the really great scene in that movie is when Jane Pauley is interviewing Vreeland in her red, overdone boudoir with her funny blush. She had a whole thing about why she wore blush like that, and it had to do with her theories of artifice and her notion of faction, which was a combination between fact and fiction. She famously said that Lindbergh flew over the house in Brewster, New York, upstate, where they had to go once the war started. She wasn't happy about that at all. And she didn't relish the role of mother. And so finally, when she was called on it, she just said, well, it's my recollection. And her recollection wasn't really true to fact, because Lindbergh never flew over Brewster, New York. So I love this. I just love this. I love everything about this. And I just don't get up here much because I'm down in the 60s now, and I don't come up this far very often, but I'm going to start. And the cold doesn't bother me. It's 30 degrees. I have no gloves because I left them in Santa Barbara. And the Lohmann's ones were expensive and ugly. They were leather with western fringe. They could not have been uglier. And I haven't had cash because Montecito Bank and Trust, I have a card, of course, but they don't understand that a cashier's check is not something you just walk into a New York bank to cash. They told me it was like cash, but it's not. You either have to go to your issuing bank or go to a bank in which you have an account. Neither of those conditions pertain to my situation. So I haven't had any cash for 10 days, but that's fine. I've got my debit, I got a credit card. So the cheap chenille gloves on the street that I love, I can't buy because I have no cash. So anyway, that's the Reservoir. It's a beautiful day in February. It's got to be in the upper 20s now. It's definitely chilly, but I've had a lot of wine. I just got done with Sarabeth's, and I just love it here. I absolutely love it. It's the best place on earth.